Hi everyone, today I'm talking about buying Uber stock, which is a stock I said that I was considering buying last week. And if I did go and buy Uber stock, I'd make a video about it, and here we are. I did go and buy Uber stock, and I'm going to talk about Uber, what price I bought at, where I'm thinking about selling the stock, and the decision why I went and eventually bought Uber stock. Now, I've actually done like a deep dive into Uber stock and talked about some of the positives and the negatives of the company. And I made that video about 3 weeks ago, so go check that out if you want some more information on Uber. But today is really about why I went and gone and bought the stock. Now, Uber is one that I've been considering quite a bit because of the prices it's been at. And I went and bought Uber stock at $32.03, which I was pretty happy about. If I'm honest, I was hoping to get it a little bit more towards the $30 mark. I know it's not too far off, but if the money transferred quicker to my brokerage account, I could have probably got it around the $30 a little bit earlier, but it was a bit slow going into the broker's account. But it's only $2, so I'm not too fussed about that. And like I say, price target wise is that I'm looking at probably, in my opinion, is that I'd sell Uber around $50, which would be a nice upside from there. So I see potential in Uber, and so $2 isn't really going to make too much of a difference. So like I say, $50 to $60 is where I'd potentially sell Uber, and this is definitely a pretty long-term hold. I'm probably going to be holding this stock for the next 2 to 3 years. Somewhere around where I think it would start turning a profit is probably where I would sell. But for me, the whole reason why I got into Uber is because I think it's a game changer, and we don't often have a lot of IPOs like Uber that a company that goes into an industry and then totally changes that industry. Like Facebook, no one kind of thought about that social media and that advertising, and then Facebook comes along and we have a new industry right there. And Uber has completely disrupted the taxiing service, and it's now led a lot of the taxiing service to try and copy what Uber has done. And traditionally, taxis, you would pretty much phone up, taxis come to you. Uber, very simple, an app, and now we're seeing so many other taxi firms trying to copy Uber's strategy. And as well as that, it's also very future-proof, that we'll talk about in a little bit. But like I say, for me, Uber is one of the market leaders in a brand new industry, or a disrupted and massive industry, and that's what I really liked about Uber, and I think it has a lot of potential going forward. Now, as well as it being a fantastic game changer, I also think it was at a cheap price. So I don't normally buy IPOs this soon. This is the earliest I've ever bought an IPO. But even so, it's way below its IPO price. So I feel like it can't drop too much more than this. And it seemed to have flattened a little bit and even had a little bit of a spike, which kind of helps me think about that this could be the bottom of where Uber should be. And I see a lot of upside from here when we look at the stock price and the potential it does have. I don't think it deserves to go much lower than this. So even though it's a lot earlier than what I normally like to invest in, I feel like the downside from these prices is quite limited. And that's why I also bought a lot bigger position this time than what I normally do. When I buy a stock for the first time, to be honest with you, I normally only really get a 25% position of what I really want. Whereas with Uber this time, I actually bought quite a big chunk of my position. It would probably be over 50% of my position that I'd want. So I have left a little bit of room to go buy some more shares if it does go down, but not as much because, like I say, I don't know how much more potential it does have to go down from here, really. The product itself and the company itself is a company that I really like. I like investing into companies that I understand and I know how they work. For me, Uber is a company that I understand, I know very well, and it's a product that I use. And because I use the product, I kind of rate how well it is. Like for example, if we talk about Sony, I have quite a bit of interest in TVs and other brands like the PlayStation for Sony, and I could tell you how well Sony's products are doing because I use the products, and I could tell you that consoles are slowing down a little bit, but at the same time, there's a new generation coming forward. TVs, they used to be quite well on TVs. Now they're a little bit behind on the TV sector. And with Uber, I can tell you, that the app is fantastic, and the product is fantastic, and it's just great in general. So I couldn't, when I look at the product, I couldn't improve it anymore because I think it's that good as it is right now. Another thing is there was kind of the the profitability of this company going forward. And eventually it was that Uber recently brought earnings out and they said that profitability is going to be at least 2 years away now. And I always said that Uber's going to be 2 years away from profitability. I don't even think they'll do it in 2 years. I think it potentially could take them 3 years to reach profitability. I think that's where realistically we'll be. But when you invest into a lot of growth companies like Tesla, especially when the IPO, a lot of companies that IPO don't make money. But at the same time, there's got to be some point where a company does go make profit, because otherwise that company is always going to be never making money. At what point does a recession come along and then they struggle? Whereas Tesla have that profitability in sight, and sure, it's quite a long way there, but they are going to get there. And previously as well, let's not forget, they did make profit, but they are really trying to invest in the infrastructure to make revenue even better by having a better infrastructure worldwide, having a good reputation. So Uber, this doesn't bother me too much, because as well they have a lot of cash on hand. So I'm very happy with this, how Uber is handling all the profitability and the positive EPS really. In fact, the bad news about the EPS only helped me get it at a cheaper price really, so I'm fine with that. The future for Uber, it's always really good to look at a company and see where they're going to be in the future and how they're going to adapt to changing conditions. And something like Coca-Cola, you look at Coca-Cola, what investments have they made? They try and make some investments, but when you look at Pepsi, they've now invested way better in the future than what Coca-Cola has, and that will pay off for Pepsi. In fact, it already is right now. And when I look at Uber and what preparations are they making for the future, they are trying to go, down to the drones, and also the Uber Eats. That's kind of like a new thing over the last year. They're also going for the driverless cars, if that eventually develops. So they're kind of futuring themselves quite already and planning ahead, which is really good. And let's not forget Uber overall. This company is growing at massive revenues, fantastic revenues. And the scary bit about Uber is that it's still not in a lot of areas. So there's a lot of places that I've been that is not as well populated, but still they need taxi services. And Uber still hasn't gone into them little areas that are a little bit slower to adapt. So for me, they have so much potential to go into a lot of places. And as well as that, when we talk about a lot of like Western countries and Uber, let's not forget Uber isn't even in a lot of Eastern countries yet. And when we look at a lot of Eastern countries, if they start developing, Uber will be over there at some point, and Uber will be in then developing countries. So Uber still has so much room to expand, and we kind of take Uber for granted, because certainly from where I live, we've had Uber now for like a good, I'd say something like 3-4 years maybe. And some places don't even have it yet. So it's crazy how much still expanding it's got after 3 or 4 years of being out there. It's fair, Uber's been around even longer than 3 or 4 years. But it's still got a lot of places to develop and take this service into other places and other countries, which is fantastic. So overall, guys, I don't see too much more downside really in Uber, but I see a lot of positives. And like I say, in 2 to 3 years time, do I see Uber being a higher share price than this? I definitely do. I definitely see it nearly being double in 2 or 3 years time. So that's why I invested in there. And that's where I believe I'm going to make the money from investing in Uber, guys. So yeah, that's me talking about me buying my shares in Uber, guys. If you are interested in Uber, or if you were looking at Uber, I hope this video really helps you guys. And thank you so much for watching. If you could give the video a like, that'd be absolutely amazing. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next video.